Friend is very open about their feelings and expects the same level of openness from you.
Okay.
Okay. Ready? 3, 2, 1.
Green. Continuing my streak of only green. I've literally only done green this episode. Oh, we all agree on this?
Yeah, we agree.
yeah.
Yeah. I think, it makes sense. Like, if a friend is being very vulnerable to you and very open to you, and if they don't get that back from you, then, they might be like, well, am I too open? Am I sharing too much? Do I not have the trust of this person? It'll give you all sorts of different worries as a friend.
Yeah.
And so I think in order to give them the same amount of respect that the friend is giving to you, I think it makes sense to at least try to convey that same level of openness back to the friend.
I think there are a few caveats that could trip this up. First of all, the word very.
Yeah.
Right.
What does that mean? Very open could mean a lot of different things to a lot of people. Obviously, a friend. I mean, like fucking Shakespeare. What is a friend?
Yeah, how deep of a friend?
Yeah,
What
like-
is a friend?
Like, at what point? Because I would say there's a level where it is appropriate, and even just like a new friend, I would not think this is like appropriate yet. Like, I think this takes a little while to get there.
Yeah.
But obviously, later on, when you're very good friends with someone, I would expect this to be.
What do you mean by new friends?
Like, maybe you're just hanging out with someone. You've hung out with them like 5 or 6 times. You have a great vibe.
Yeah.
Like, at what point do you start spilling, like, if there's deep
Start getting
conversations,
deep,
you know what I mean?
Sometimes it's a second meeting for me.
It can be, yeah, it can be.
Depends on the friend.
Sometimes if you like vibe with someone, you're like, sometimes you just get the feeling that I'm like, I feel like I can trust you with this piece of information.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
I've had that, but I've also had other times where I feel like someone has shared with me, and I'm
Yeah.
like, I just don't feel like it's the vibe.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm like, I don't feel comfortable returning.
Well, I've had people share when it's just like not even a one-on-one thing as well.
in
That's
groups.
Yeah.
That's a
toughie.
different problem.
that is when I'm like, okay, you're being too open right now with this
Yeah.
piece of information because
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell anyone. But the fact that you're just telling this big open group in a big discussion,
This goes
right
back
now,
to the fucking coworker one.
Yeah.
Also, interestingly, there are like people who I've met who like maybe I've been friends with them for less time,
Yeah.
but because of the way their personality is, I feel like they're maybe more capable at dealing with that, or
Yeah.
maybe more competent or good at dealing with open conversations.
Yeah.
Maybe I've had some friends I've had for a very long time that I'm like, they're just very bad at like talking about this stuff.
Yeah,
you know what I
yeah.
mean? I
Yeah.
think we all have that.
Like,
kind
it
of
never
thing.
comes up in conversation.
Yeah, like there's no like X amount of time where like you are now worthy of an open conversation
Yeah,
about feelings.
Yeah.
It's just different. Like, I'm sure we all have that one friend who we know very well, but we wouldn't go to them if we were upset about something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because
Yeah,
like you're just like, they're just not that guy.
Yeah.
Everyone has a different vibe.
Right.
And everyone has a different type of friendship with, different kind of like relationship with a lot of different people.
Yeah, there's friends who I would consider very close.
Yeah.
But it would be a very tough time having a very open conversation about certain things with them.
Right.
There are some people that I would say I'm very close with, but I also would not, not that I wouldn't trust them with it, but I wouldn't,
wouldn't be
if
appropriate.
I was like asking for like advice or something, I wouldn't think that they were like the right person to go to.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Totally.
A lot of British people.
This is like British people level impossible. It's
There, I
Open with your
will
feelings.
admit, I know a lot of British people that like, there's some that are definitely like super open, but there are a lot that I feel like have never really had that friendship with someone where like, they've had to like be open, but now
Or
like,
maybe they've never been as open.
yeah, and then
with
like
other people.
we're nearly 30, and I'm like, man, I feel like it's not my obligation to like teach you how to do this.
do you ever have that like?
I don't know. I don't know.
Do you have that one person that you've known for like fucking decades, and you're like,
I've never had a deep conversation with them.
I don't
100%.
actually know
much. Yeah, I don't know much
about you
I don't know shit.
inside.
No, yeah.
like you have that relationship where you're like, damn, all right, this person brings the vibe, always great to hang out with. Know absolutely nothing about him as a person.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
I think it's cool to have that, but I also think that there's like, it's nice to have that give and take sometimes.
Yeah, exactly.
Totally.
I'm glad we all agree.
Yeah.
We all agree that we share our feelings here.
Yeah,
At Trash Taste.
we're a little too open here on Trash Taste.
We are very.
I know I realized I was a complete fucking hypocrite when I'm just like, oh, don't share your feelings to such an open group, and here we are sharing it to fucking
the world. Too many times.
That's our job.
Too many times I've seen in the comments where people are just like, they shouldn't have shared that. It's like, we didn't need to know that, bro.
Oh, you guys should see what we share off camera.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. There's a level deeper than what we talk about.
I think we have like a level of openness that is way more than most people, just because our job has forced us to be so.
Yeah.
You know, and
Well, I think
in my private life, I take that as well, right? I try to go into it with a very.
But I also think I've had to deprogram my British mind in a lot of ways. Because especially growing up, and moving out of England, I've realized, oh my God, people just do not like talking about their feelings in England.
But that's why I feel like I have more American friends now. Like, I feel more like America mindset than British at times. Because I'm like, man, no one wants to fucking genuinely.
He's been
like,
America
I just like, there are a lot of things that I love about the British personality.
Yeah.
But having a deep conversation is not one of them.
Yeah.
It is often a painful and like pulling teeth kind of conversation.
I don't think
Not
that.
always. But like,
Yeah.
I'll meet an American and then we'll be 2 conversations in and then it'll be like fucking open book. And I'm like, God damn, that's kind of like, I kind of respect the level of trust that Americans give to people.
I still can't match myself to like the tempo of like the American openness.
me neither.
Yeah.
It's still like
I love it,
it's
man.
still
I
like
love
too
it.
fast for me.
I love it.
I'm like,
I'm a convert.
Yeah.
I'm a convert.
I'm like, I'm down with the idea, but just like, can we take it a little bit slower? You know, like
Yeah.
I just met you. Let me get to know you a little bit more. Then I'm totally fine.
yeah.
But like
I love
on
it.
like, you
I
know,
love it.
sentence
I'm
number
America
3,
pilled.
like I can't.
I'm
I
America
can't do
pilled.
that. Yeah, you've been America pilled.
I am America pilled, bro. I love Americans. They're great.
All right. You hear that, Americans?
I love Americans, bro. I think they're fucking cool.
All right.
All right.
Next
question.
A friend enjoys playful teasing and jokes, sometimes at your expense. What the fuck is this image?
Well, we kind of covered this.
Yeah,
we
yeah,
covered
yeah.
this.
We covered this. We said that.
Is this how you feel on the inside, Gone, every time?
Always.
Yeah, we literally like
always.
called this out. We were like,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
got to be that one. You got to be able to like. Yeah, you should. A friend enjoys, but he should be able to enjoy it back too.
Yeah.
Right
Yeah,
back at
yeah.
him.
This is a green flag as long as the friend who does this can handle being
yeah.
teased himself.
And as long as it stays playful, I feel. You know,
What's the line?
the line is, you know, when you start to say some like really like, you know, maybe something that digs into a person's like personal trauma or like, you know, like where
Nah, because I think that's funny though.
see,
Nah, because there's nothing better than like when your friend, he's got like a really fucking traumatic thing, and you're all able to joke about it.
well, see, again, it depends on the person, right? Because it's like, you know,
Nah, I think that's good vibes.
You can have some, no, like,
Nah.
I've had some people where it's like, you know, like you'd be playing COD and it's like, oh, fuck, I died. And then some people like, just like your dad, like, you know, it's like something like that, right? And they can laugh about it. And then there are some people who are just like, nah, don't joke about that, man. You know?
Yeah.
It depends.
Well, actually, but then I've seen times where people have had that exact scenario where it's
Yeah.
like someone has like literally a friend that had a dead dad.
Yeah.
And like we had I was a third wheel in this friend group, so I was just monitoring. And one of the guy misjudged that he thought he was closer than he was to the
Right.
group, made the joke, and it got really awkward fast.
Oh, yeah.
Because he was like, "Don't fucking joke about my dad." And I
Yeah.
was like,
Yeah.
but
it happens,
also,
man.
I think, you know, being able to joke about everything with your friends is great. And I think it's also a great way to like just cope.
I mean, I think, you know, I think
But
at the end of the day,
the person who has that, sorry to interrupt, the
Yeah.
person who like let's say, again, example, you did dad. The friend has to, the person who has it has to be like, look, it is cool to joke about it.
Yeah.
I'm going to joke about it. You don't joke about it.
Yeah. And if it's not cool to joke about it, then, you know, just like let that friend know to be like, hey, you know, this is something that's like, I'm still grieving about, I'm still taking very seriously. So if you can, try to avoid it. And if they're a good friend, then they'll reciprocate it. They'll be like, all right, I appreciate you telling me. I won't make jokes like that. So it's like, it completely depends on where the level of playful is in that friend group. You know, it's
Yeah.
like something that is playful to one person.
We should just change it to, is it cool to joke about your friend's dead dad?
Yeah.
We should have.
I don't know, bro. My dad's still alive. All right. Let's go next one then.
next one.
A colleague often challenges the status quo and suggests new ways of doing things, even if it disrupts routines.
Cool. Okay. Neat. This is like, do you like Japan or America?
Holly always challenges the status quo. It's just Okay.
All right, Joey,
Yeah.
rip it.
I guess I'll do this then.
3, 2,
Two,
1.
one.
Continue my streak of green.
Green,
Yes.
baby.
It's too easy.
See,
Yeah.
I was like, how often is often?
Yeah, but I think, look, if somebody cares enough about the system to want to change it, then clearly they're more invested than someone who's like, I'm clocking in.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think ultimately anyone who cares enough to want to change things is ultimately someone you want to keep around.
I'd rather have someone like this on the team rather
Yeah.
than
100%.
someone who, doesn't,
Just
doesn't-
follows orders.
Now,
No,
obviously-
not just follow his orders. This quality shows that number one, they're invested. Number two, they try to think for themselves and try to do something that they think is better for everyone. And I'd rather someone who is invested and tries to find new ways to do things, rather than someone who doesn't think about that at all. And
Now, if we were a Japanese language podcast, we'd be like, wow, this is bad.
The
Bad.
devil
Don't-
himself.
Don't want this
Yeah.
guy around.
yeah.
We have a good system going around here. We do not want things shaken up.
Everything's fine, guys. Trust us.
Our economy is doing just fine.
Yeah, we're doing
Okay.
fine.
We do not need things changed around here. All right, cool. That was easy. All right,
That
next
was
up.
easy. All right, next one. A friend is always positive and optimistic, even when you're trying to discuss serious or difficult topics.
Okay, sure. Okay. I'll just say this, and we'll discuss. Three, two, one.
Oh, red.
Red.
I said, God, I said green.
Green.
Sometimes you just gotta be fucking pissed off about something.
Yeah, but
I
then,
don't always need positivity and optimism. Sometimes I need to be pissed off with me. You know what I mean?
that's so British of you. Like.
Yeah.
No, I mean, like, I think not every conversation needs unrelenting positivity and optimism.
Yep.
I think sometimes it just needs some skepticism. It needs some fucking cynicism. It needs some fucking pessimism. Like, I think not every topic calls for this. And knowing when to give what is, I think, important.
He says being the friends with the American.
No, I don't think Americans are always positive.
I don't know.
I think Americans
Yeah.
the past 5 years have become a lot more cynical and jaded.
Actually, I think American cynicism is just like so much more loaded. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
it is, yeah.
It's whenever Americans get like pessimistic about something, it's like, holy shit, this is like heavy. But when sometimes British people just like moan.
Yeah.
I don't even see it as negativity. That's why I saw this. And when you talk about moaning and shit, my brain does not even register that as negativity.
Moaning is a neutral emotion.
Yeah, that is. It is. Is
Like,
moaning not a neutral?
I just not
not a neutral stance. You know.
I just don't think being always positive and optimistic is great. Like, I think that's just not help because you're a fucking Disney character at that point. I don't want a Disney character for a friend.
Well, it depends.
I want a
how,
real human fucking
that's
being.
the thing. It depends
Yeah.
how positive and optimistic it is. If it's
Always, they're always Joey.
Yeah.
yeah, but like I think it depends on the level, right? Because like if you're like hyper positive and hyper optimistic to the point where it just becomes unrealistic while listening to it, then yeah, that's something that you don't really need. It's like miss me with that shit. But like if they're positive and optimistic in the face of putting everything into context and just having an optimistic mindset about it, then I don't think it hurts.
As someone who's trying to be more positive and optimistic to the people around me, I think it can be. I think we could use more positive and
Yeah, we
optimistic.
can.
Yeah.
Because
But
sometimes-
always?
Yeah.
always.
I mean, sometimes you get in a
Always, go
friend
on.
group where it's just like, damn, this just feels very negative to
Yeah.
hang around. Because
Sure.
sometimes you need that one, maybe not everyone, but sometimes you just need that one person in the friend group who is always positive and optimistic just to balance it out.
I think it helps more than
Yeah.
it hurts in most
Yeah.
situations.
I honestly think I couldn't be friends with only positive and optimistic
No.
people. But if I have that one friend who is just brings that positive vibe and optimistic vibe, sometimes you just need that. And
Yeah.
sometimes, they're just such a breath.
Yeah,
of
everyone
fresh
could be
air.
like moaning about something,
Yeah.
and then you just have one friend who's like, "Dude, don't worry, man. It's all good.
yeah,
Don't worry."
it's like Pete.
Then I'll be like, "Yeah, you know what?
It's like I can moan as much as I like, and it's just good knowing that whenever I'm with Pete, he can be like,
Yeah,
hey man,
he
you
picks
know,
me up.
Yeah, he picks me up with him.
I can't be sad around people.
Yeah,
you know, like,
exactly. Exactly.
That's that one friend.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, you know, I appreciate that. And I like the fact again as well is that it's not that unrealistic hyper optimism or hyper positivity where it's like where it just becomes, you know, at that point annoying. You know, where it's like it's a realistic positive mindset, a realistic optimistic mindset. I think having even just one person, as Garn said, in the friend group, if everyone's like that, then yeah, it can be a bit tiring. But it's about a balance.
I think there's a difference between being always positive and optimistic and being overly positive and optimistic or hyper positive and optimistic. Because I don't think there's a negative trait to try to see the good in people or try to see the optimistic side of things. And I think some friend groups might need that and might need that ray of sunshine.
Absolutely.
Just to bring people up. So, yep. Green flag. Green flag, motherfucker.
You don't want that?
No.
You got to stop hanging out with Americans.
I need some, you need some negativity sometimes in your life.
You can take the British boy to America, but you can't take the Briton out of him.
That's what it is. What do you want me to tell you? All right, what's next?
All right.
Let's go next. Okay, a friend frequently invites you to events or activities that align with their interests, but not necessarily yours.
Okay. Easy.
Okay.
Okay, ready?
Okay.
3, 2, 1. Green.
Green. That is a good friend.
Why are we all good adults?
Huh?
Why are we all good adults?
I
who
don't
agree?
know.
So it's not your friend's job to make sure you like your interests are taken care of.
Yeah, exactly.
If you want to do something that aligns with your interests that brings your friends, you arrange it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, it's a
pretty
great.
simple.
Also, it's a great way to maybe open up to new interests that you might have had, and that's another great way to bond with your friend.
I'm not expecting Joey to hit me up about doing an 80K cycle. You know what I mean?
No.
Like, I might ask Joey if he's down, and I won't be surprised when he says no.
Yeah.
But like, that's not my job to make sure that Joey gets to do what Joey wants.
Exactly.
Also, sometimes maybe I just wake up on the day and I'm like, yeah, I want to do an 80K cycle. Connor caught me on the right day. And then, turns out that we just go through torrential rain and it was, I'm going to call it character building.
Character building.
It was character building.
No regrets.
But, like, catch me 2 years ago, I probably would have said no. And sometimes you don't know unless you just try. You know?
I feel like if you heard this and you were like offended or you felt like that's a red flag, I feel like you need to reevaluate how you view friendship.
Yeah.
I just don't. It's not up to your friend to make sure you're doing activities that you all like. Now, obviously, like, if he's, I don't know. There might be scenarios where I could see where you might feel this way, but I think generally speaking, if you want to do something that aligns with your interests, it's up to you to bring it forward.
Yeah, and I feel...
And if your friend is always shooting it down, saying it's dumb, yada, 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 but always is like, no, you got to do my thing, then that's a different...
Yeah. I was about to say, if the mutual respect is there, then that's the best case scenario. But if it's not there, then that's something you got to reevaluate.
But also, like, I don't get offended if I'm like, hey, Joe, you want to do this thing? And Joe's like, no. And I'm like, all right, cool,
likewise.
whatever. Like, I do not get offended by that.
Totally.
It's just, grow up.
Yeah, exactly.
Just be comfortable in yourself and what you're doing,
Yeah, what you like and be open to other people's interests. That's all it is at the end of the day. All right.